I decided to come in here. This is the kind of the entrance slash exit on the office side of the building, and it is used for ways for people to come in and out during the week, and it is our entry point and our exit point at any time during the week other than maybe a Sunday morning when you're coming for worship. And I wanted to sit here and do the Hot Fudge Sunday for today in this place because of the fact that today we talked about island number 8. And island number 8 is an exit point, but also too it's a beginning point. And island number 8 is the island where you make the decision to be an example. You make a decision to, through your words as well as your actions, to be an example for those, to share the good news that God has for everyone. And we talked about many different things today about this entry point and this exit point when it comes to being a follower of Jesus. One of the things we talked about is that it's a totally unfair location. The first thing you have to understand and realize is that you quite possibly are the only Jesus that anyone will ever know. You are the only Bible they'll ever read. You're the only church they'll ever go to. And everything that they're going to base on Christianity is based on you. And that's not fair. It's totally not fair because we're imperfect beings. We make mistakes, but that's the reality. So we use that little psychological term. We put a pin in that one and just set it to a side because of the fact we weren't going to really deal with that today. But it's reality. It's underpinning the whole island of island number 8 on the journey to be is that notion of the fact that even though it is unfair, people are basing what they think about Jesus on you. People are basing what they think about God on you. People are basing what they think about the church on you. It's up to you to be their information. You would be their only source. And again, like I said, it's unfair, but it's a reality. So we put that aside. We talked about the fact that we are to share with people the night and day difference. In fact, the passage from 1 Peter that we referenced, that's exactly what it's talked about, the night and day difference in our life. How were we before and how we after? How we before we came to a saving grace in Jesus Christ, how we before we started living as a follower, and how are we after. The night and day difference. And use these words, talked about the fact that we went from the rejected to the accepted. We went from someone who didn't belong to someone who belonged. And I don't think there's a person in the world that doesn't relate to that. All of us want to be accepted. All of us want to belong. All of us want to be a part of something. And the unbelieving world, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for an answer. They're not looking for quotes of Scripture. An unbelieving world who has no idea about the Bible, has no idea about church, has no idea about Jesus. They could care less what Matthew or Mark or Luke or John says. They want to know about what you say. They want to know about how you've experienced. For many people outside of a faith in Jesus, this is pretty much like another pyramid marketing scheme. It seems like you become a part, and then you try to get people underneath you, and the more people you get underneath you, the better that it is for you. And I can understand how people can see it that way, but of course we know there's a difference, but they don't. So we've got to think about how do we connect with them. I brought up the example of the sporting events when they used to hold up the signs at John 3:16, and I used to think that's a wonderful sign for someone who knows the Bible. It's a wonderful sign for someone who knows the church. It means nothing to someone outside of the church. It means nothing to someone who's never read the Bible before. They just don't even know what it means. They don't even know what it references. And so we have to be aware that people are not looking for Bible passages to be quoted. People are not looking for how much knowledge that we have about a subject. They want to know what's the night and day difference God has made in your life. How are you different now because of your relationship with God? How do you deal with the mess of life because of your relationship with God? What do you do when life stinks because of your relationship with God? Those kind of things. That's what an unbelieving world is looking for. They're looking for an entry point and an exit point. They're looking for a way to get into this, but also, too, they want to get in and understanding that if they don't like what they find, they want to get out. So that's why we're here at this part of the church. And that's what we're talking about, that concept of island number 8, about where we will share the good news with those around us, that we will share the good news through our actions as well as our words. And when we take a look at how we live, people want to see something. They want to see a difference. They want to know that if I do invest in this, it's going to make a difference. if I do make the choice to believe, it's going to mean something. If I do take this step, that when life gets tough, and it will, it's going to help. When life is good, and it will be good, it's going to help. When life is boring, and it will be, it's going to help. So that's what an unbelieving world is looking for. And that's island number 8. Island number 8 on the journey to be. And it's not the end of the journey. Even though there are 8 islands on the journey to be, there's never an ending, because island number 8 just leads right back around into our journey again. And very, very often, because of revelation, because of things you experience in your life, things that you learn, you're going to have to go back to other islands and visit them again. But you never really leave island number 8, because even if you're on island number 2, someone's still watching you. Someone's still basing Christianity on you. Someone's still basing their understanding of Jesus upon you. And so that notion of being watched, that notion of being a testimony for the Lord never really leaves, regardless of what island we're on. So it's an all-encompassing piece. And that's why it's important for us to visualize this as islands and not as a hierarchy, not as steps on a ladder, because we want to make sure that we are constantly, in essence, living in the islands, plural, not just living on an island. And there's a lot more we'll talk about that, but I rearranged the chairs in the sanctuary because next week is a new sermon series starting, and we'll do that for a couple of weeks, drive everybody crazy, and then we'll change it around again. So I hope that you can join us next week if you're in the Bradenton area. If not, tune back in to another episode of Hot Fudge Sunday, find out what we talked about, and hopefully it's helping you to grow, and hopefully you're learning something out of this. So as I say every week, may this week have a great you, and I'll see you later.